So I'm an avid Xero Shoes customer. Maybe rabid is the right word, and perhaps that's why, but Xero did send me a pair of their brand new boots for free to try in exchange for leaving an honest review. These are them, the Xero leather boot, which comes in brown and black. An honest review I'll give you, what I can honestly say is I love these. I love wearing them. I love the way they look. I love the way they feel when I'm wearing them. And I love what they are, which is minimalist. Something that, you know, if you've been looking, is not easy to find in boots. I mean, seriously, consider how hard it is to find a boot that is zero drop from the heel to the toe, the same height. To consider one that has a minimal footbed. This one's like, I think, 5 inches total. An extra 2.5 if you include the removable thing here. What's that thing called? But it's removable. And even with that, it's like 8 millimeters, a little under 8 millimeters, so very minimalist. And also a wide toe box. Not easy to find, especially in boots, which to me has always been a mystery. I mean, you got to consider that a lot of people who buy boots do so because they want to go for long distances on mountain trails with a heavy pack. And yet, so many of them are narrow, just a recipe for blisters. Well, that's a recipe I ain't cooking up anymore because I've got these. Oh, and on top of that, it is, as you would expect from any Xero shoe, very flexible. Not quite as flexible as, say, one of their sandals, because it's got a lot of meat here on top. But it's still a very flexible book. It's not a flexible book. It's a very flexible boot. Don't expect a hiking boot. This isn't what I would call a hiking boot, and that's not a negative. It's just they're not intended to be. They're not advertised as a hiking boot. This is a great boot to be wearing around town. And I'm not saying you couldn't wear it for hiking and going on a long trail thing, because, I mean, they are super comfortable. The wide toe box means you're not going to be getting blistered. And even though it's not like heavily lugged, it's got that chevron pattern. I think they're 2.5 millimeters, as I recall from the literature. But 2.5 millimeters, but it's the dual chevron pattern. Now, you might be thinking that's 2 gas stations of the same brand side by side on the road, but no. Dual chevron means dual patterns. Like, they're aimed in one direction here, that's the chevron pattern right there, but on the back of the shoe, on the heel, they're faced the other way. And that's because different purposes. If you are trying to get traction as you're going up a hill, you're going to need to dig in, and you need the chevrons in that direction to do that. But if you're on the downhill and you want to arrest your speed, or if you're on slick territory, you want to catch yourself, well, then you need the lug pattern in the other direction. As you can see, dual lugs. Life is short, which is why I also appreciate the fact that these are true to size, or at least for me they were. I mean, that's especially important if you're going to be buying shoes online, which most of you are if you're buying the Xero brand. Do they sell them in stores? I don't know. Because if you have to buy them online, and then they arrive, you've already waited, then you put them on, they don't fit, you got to send them back, you lose more time, you have to wait longer just to get it up or down a size. In this case, I normally wear 12.5. These are 12.5, and they fit like a 12.5 would, like I would expect them to. Now, as far as the wide toe box, I'm going to admit, when I pulled them out of the box, not toe box, but out of the shoe box, I took one look at them and I thought, uh-oh, this doesn't look wide enough. Not as wide as I was expecting, but apparently it's an optical illusion, because they are absolutely wide enough, as with other Xero shoes, for my feet to fit comfortably. In this case, even if I'm wearing toe spreaders with them, I find them to be comfortable, which I will do, by the way, on a shorter hike or run. But on a longer hike or run, if it's really long, I might even wear my orthotics. And I've worn them with either, I've worn them with both, and I've worn them with none of those two. So in all 3 cases, they fit great. They fit, I was going to say like a glove, but, you know, they fit like a shoe. They fit good. I don't know what sort of sorcery they're using to make it work under all 3 circumstances. But it fits. It's definitely wide enough. Now, because this is not a running shoe, but a dress boot, I'm going to give it a rating of something I don't normally consider when I'm doing a review, and that is a vanity rating. And I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. I feel like They look good. I like to be styling when I'm out in public. And I feel like I am when I'm wearing these. But let me tell you a secret. The part that no one who sees you on the street is going to understand. The smile on your face because of the inside of the boot. Look at this lining. I mean, just look at it. It's kind of like a fleece, blankety sort of thing. I mean, not too thick, but it's, man, it's nice. It's like a hug. It's psychologically, emotionally comfortable. I think, yeah, it's like a hug. And I don't get enough hugs. But now I do. At least my foot does, which is why my hand is in it. But I'm not going to stick my foot up here on my desk. So yeah, it's just so comfortable. And it also gives it a layer of warmth, which I'm looking forward to now that the cold weather is coming on. And, you know, honestly, it's, I don't know, it's kind of a sock lining enough so that you might be tempted to wear them without socks. Now, me personally, I just can't imagine wearing boots without socks. A boot without socks is like a day without chocolate. Well, I'm not going to do that either. So yeah, I'm going to wear socks. But the point is, you could wear them without. It's just that comfortable. One thing I like about this is, in spite of the fact that it's a leather boot, it's pretty lightweight. It rings in at 11.6 ounces in the size 9. This is not a size 9. It's a size 12.5. So I put it on my home scale, and it weighed in at 16 ounces. That's, even pound. Now, that got me curious. Like, how would that compare to other hiking boots, other boots that are popular in the market? I've got a friend who has a pair of Merrell Moab 2 boots. And he wears the same size as me, so I emailed him and said, hey, could you weigh those? He emailed me back and said they were 190 pounds. And then I said, George, take them off and weigh them again, which he did. And he said then that it was a pound and a half, an even pound and a half. So that means wearing a pair of Moab boots is going to be like wearing 3 of these shoes. Do you want to be wearing an extra boot? Well, that's what you're getting. So that's just how lightweight this is, and I appreciate that. So is there anything that's not good about the boot? Yes, in my opinion, one thing. Just one thing. It's described as being water resistant. In my opinion, it's about as resistant to water as a male deer is to a female deer during rutting season, meaning not resistant. I actually took it for a test, and I'll show you the footage for a minute. But I mean, I don't downgrade the boot for that because, I mean, look at it. I mean, if you looked at this, would you say, whoa, I want to take that out in the rain? No, it's a suede leather boot. I wouldn't take it in the rain. If I knew the forecast was going to say rain, I wouldn't say, hey, let me go throw these bad boys on. It's just not what you do if you got a pair of suede leather shoes, right? So, I mean, it's not like it's going to get dirty, right, or muddy. And it's not like you can throw a leather boot or a leather shoe in your laundry and run them through your washing machine. So I just wouldn't even pick that. Therefore, I think this is more of a problem of positioning, of marketing, than it is a problem with the boot itself. So I'm going to show you in my own experience. I ran a test. I looked up in the sky. I saw clouds coming. I thought, yeah, baby, let's find out what these do. Do they resist water? Under the lightest of sprinkles and walking for about half a mile, my feet were still dry. But as soon as the rain actually began coming down as more than a sprinkle, and I was having to move through or around puddles, my feet started getting wet. The socks were getting wet pretty much right away. So, with my feet already wet, I figured, well, let's just have some fun. Let's just go find out what it can do in a real puddle. Well, I had fun. It was a blast. Yeah, instant wet feet. I felt like a kid. It was just that much fun. Well, you know, swimming is fun too. And my feet were swimming. My biggest concern I have is that I question the wisdom of Xero shoes positioning this as something that is water resistant. I don't know how it's defined in the industry. Maybe this is considered water resistant because it didn't get my feet wet when it was a very light sprinkle. But honestly, just use common sense and you're going to love the boot. If you're looking for a rain boot, this ain't it. Now, when I'm reviewing a shoe, or in this case a boot, I normally also talk about its longevity potential, like how well it's holding up. In this case, I've only had them for about 20 miles of footwear, so I don't know if that's a fair test. But I can say from that 20 miles, even after wearing in the rain, look at it, it still looks pretty much like when it came out of the box. So I guess the rain didn't stain it. There is no visible tread wear at all. There are no weak points I see showing up anywhere. So based on that and based on my experience with Xero shoes in general, I think it's going to last a while. So to summarize, as I said at the beginning, I love them. They are warm. They are classy. They are comfortable. They've got good traction. I'm looking forward to wearing these a lot in the approaching cold season.